Hi, my name is Stephanie Rowland, and I am the manager for disability services on the Newark campus. And my counterpart is Jill Hupp. She's the access specialist. You'll work with both of us at some point in time in your academic career here at the Newark campus. And so tonight we're going to talk about what about our process. We're going to talk about some of the differences between high school and college, how to get registered, what all of this looks like for you. And then please feel free to put any questions that you may have in the chat. And at the end, Wes will ask all of the questions that are burning that you have questions about. So the first thing we want to do is we want to start out talking about the difference between college versus high school. And a lot of it is navigating this process on your own. So at the high school level, and then your instructor, your teachers, uh, your 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 teachers were informed about your accommodations, and they automatically put the accommodations for you in place for you. At the college level, it's a little bit different. At the college level, you have to go through the process of registering for accommodations. It's much more of anonymity. And so you can choose to disclose your accommodations or you can choose not to. But your professors, they're going to work with you for accommodations, but you have to let them know that you have them. And I will tell you that our faculty on our campus are very, very, very supportive of students with disabilities. And they want you to make sure that you're getting your accommodations and they want you to be successful. Another big difference is attendance. In high school, you get in trouble if you don't show up to class. At the college level, there are many classes that do not have an attendance requirement. And even those that do, you are not, if you don't attend, there's no punishment. They're not going to call home and report to your parents that you aren't attending class. But it's really, really important that you do attend class as many classes as you can, because all of the learning that happens is going to be in the classroom. Time management is another big thing. So right now in the K-12 system in your high school, you go to class and maybe you're doing your math homework in math class, or you have the study hall at the end of the day or in the middle of the day where you're working on your homework. At the college level, it's not that way. So you'll go to class, you'll have a lecture, you'll have a lab, depending on the course you're in. And yes, you'll do some work in your lab, but all of the homework is done outside of class. All of your reading is done outside of class. And you will be expected to have done your readings before you get to class, so you're able to actively participate in the class. It is much more student responsibility focused. And so figuring out what your schedule is going to look like, figuring out study times, these are all things that we can work with you on your time management and student responsibility piece. This is something that we can work with you on, but helping you create a schedule that helps you be successful. Classes. So right now, classes are Monday through Friday. I'm going to guess 7:30 to 2:30, somewhere around there. And you go to class, you're in a session for 40 minutes, and then you have 10 minutes to get to your next class. And so you have your class, same class every day of the week. At the college level, it's different. So you may have one class for an hour, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 11. Another class may be 1 hour on Tuesdays. You may have a lab on Thursdays that's 2 hours long. And so you will have chunks of time within your day where you won't have class. And so it's really important that you figure out what works best for you. And it's different because students are like, you know what? I don't have to go to class every day from 8 to 3. And so I have all this extra time on my hands because I only have two classes on Tuesday. Once again, it goes back to that while you're in class, you're not actually working on class, right? You're learning the material. And so it's really, really important to find those study times that work best for you. Also, your classes are only 16 weeks, 15 plus the finals week, and you're not going to have an exam over every chapter of every book. You are going to have probably 2 to 3 exams a semester, maybe just two, maybe a midterm and a final, and that's it. You may have quizzes in the class. You may have papers in your class. Homework sometimes. Sometimes you do homework not for a grade, but because you need to have the material learned in order to be successful for the exam. So it really depends on what that looks like per class. But The good news is that's why we're here. And it's all good news, right? It's a learning different environment. And so navigating that different environment it can be challenging. And so just knowing that what you're walking into is a different learning environment. Also, the accommodation process is a different process. So you will have to get registered with our office and we will put accommodations in place for you, but this is much more of a self-driven. Now, parents, we work with parents a lot during this early process. Students, and we'll talk a little bit more about this as we move forward, but parents are also part of this initial process as well. The most important classroom tip I can give you right now is communication. Do not be afraid to ask for help. Do not be afraid to reach out to your instructors to ask for guidance. They are your number one resource. Let me say this again, your number one resource. They know what assignments are due in your classes. They know what the workload looks like in your classes. They're the ones that are teaching you the material. They are your number one resource. Second, I'm going to say a short second is disability services. We are here to help you, but communication is key. You have to communicate with your faculty. You have to communicate with us. Be prepared. Do your readings in advance. Learn how to skim. Do your homework. Attend all of your classes. Just because it doesn't have an attendance policy doesn't mean you shouldn't attend. Be on time. Pay attention to your syllabus. So the first day of your first class, you will get a syllabus, which will list all of your assignments and deadlines for the entire semester. This is the first step to getting organized and staying organized. The syllabus should also detail how your assignments are created, what the expectations of your assignments are, and the expectations of the class. The syllabus will also have your instructor's contact information, office hours. Every faculty member provides some sort of office hours. This is outside of the classroom where you have the opportunity to speak one-on-one with your instructor. And then utilizing your resources. Yes, disability services is a resource, but we also have multiple resources on campus. We have the retention and success team. We have academic advising. We have financial aid. We have the testing center. We have tutoring. We have all different resources on campus, and we work very closely with all of them to provide as much support as we can. But we can be your first step. So if you don't know where to go and you have a question and concern, we tell you to come to us and we can help navigate you where you need to go. So what are the different ways in which students can get registered? Jill, do you want to take this one?
All right. So some different types of disabilities. We do not at the college level necessarily with documentation. 504s and IEPs are important. That's where we start that conversation, looking at those diagnoses, but we're also can look at doctors, diagnoses, counselors, things like that. But mental health is a big one that we're looking at, of course, right now, depression, anxiety, ADHD, autism, learning disabilities, of course, dyslexia, written expression, processing speed, memory, medical, of course, diabetes, Crohn's, hard of hearing, any of those things that we can help with. And of course, temporary disability. So if you're having surgery and that's coming up and you're going to miss class, we can definitely put some temporary things in place for you. We've had students reach out all the time for things like that. So definitely anytime you have a question, we are very open to let's have a conversation and what that looks like and what kind of documentation we're looking for. And here's the documentation.
So, so what we have is documentation, a letter or doctor from your physician, or letter or note from your physician. The 504 IEP, if you have it, great. Submit it as documentation. As long as we can see a diagnosis, that's really, really all we need. We try to make this process as seamless and as easy as possible. So if you have a 504 or IEP, you can submit that. It doesn't need to be updated as long as it's within the last 2 years for us. A letter or note from your doctor. Basically, we need to see if you had prior history of accommodations. The onset of MyChart has made this process 188% easier. So if you do not have a 504 IEP and you did not have accommodations in high school and don't have accommodations right now in high school, but are concerned that you may need extra academic support at the college level. And I will tell you, we work with a lot of students who in high school, they didn't have any concerns, but because of the different learning environment of the college level, they realized that they needed more academic support. You can log into my chart and you can pull that information off of my chart. All we need to see is your name, the diagnosis, and the treating physician's name, and we can put accommodations in place. Once we have that information, then we talk to you about what's working and what's not working. Documentation is reviewed by Jill or I, and then we send an email to students. Students contact us for a welcome meeting, and then we put accommodations in place. It's really that simple. And we try to streamline it as much as we possibly can. Our goal is always to reduce the barriers and create an equitable learning environment anytime that we can. Okay, so accommodations and services. The number one is extended exam accommodations, which includes extended testing time, distraction reduced testing space, sometimes a computer with Word for essay exams, assistive technology, flexibility with attendance and deadlines. I will tell you that this one is kind of on an as needed basis, and we don't use it nearly as much as we don't use it as often. Students have to meet a pretty high threshold. And for that reason, we work at a different pace. Like I said before, our classes are only 15 weeks plus the finals week. And if you get behind, it sometimes can be really hard to get caught back up. So we want to make sure that we're putting resources in place to help you be successful. If it is needed, a lot of the times we will work with students and the faculty one-on-one to put that academic support in place. Note-taking assistance. A lot of instructors will provide PowerPoints to all students, but we can put assistance in place in terms of peer note taker or a program called Glean that will record as well as provide a transcript. Assistive technology such as text-to-speech software, Read Write Gold, which is a reading technology, and then accessible media, getting your books in a digital format. We can also help if for some reason you would need to withdraw from a class or a semester, we can help with that process as well. Another one that's not on here is language and math substitutions. So depending on your disability, you may be able to get a language substitution. So you would be able to take culture-based classes instead of the language-based classes. Same with math. If approved, you would take a logics course or a philosophy course instead of a math course, but that is all based on what your major is. So if your major requires a language or math specifically for the major, then that is not an option. So why is it important to get registered? Levels the playing field. You're utilizing the resources that are available to you, right? We are creating an equitable learning environment for you, and that's leveling the playing field. We're a personal connection. We are your go-to. We may not have the answer, but I guarantee you we know what office and who to connect you to in that office. And we'll do a soft handoff. We will walk you over there. We will call. We will get you connected. If you're successful academically by utilizing your resources, your retention increases, which means the likelihood of you completing your degree, whether that be completely at the Newark campus or transitioning to Columbus, whatever your educational path looks like, we want you to be here and be successful. And we are one of the resources that's going to help you get there. So what does disclosure mean? Disability is confidential. Students do not have to disclose their disability to anybody other than us. We encourage you to share your as much as you feel comfortable with. So you do not have to share with your faculty that you have a medical condition, that you have a mental health condition, that you have a learning disability. But we highly encourage you to share as much as you feel comfortable with, because I will tell you, the more that faculty understand, the better they're able to work with you, and they want to work with you. And so we always encourage students, as much as they feel comfortable disclosing, and they don't even have to be specific, but disclosing what they're struggling with based on their disability with their faculty member, and they may be able to put resources in place for you. We do follow FERPA guidelines. So when you sign up for accommodations and you complete the welcome meeting, you're going to give us permission to speak to faculty and staff on an as needed basis. Basically, that means that if a faculty or staff was to reach out to us regarding a concern about you, we would share that you are registered, but we never share why. Also, for parents, you are welcome to contact us and we will talk with you about your student's concern. We will then reach out to your student, let them know that we spoke with you, and then we'll bring the student in. And if the parent wants to be part of that conversation, we'll have a discussion to see what we can do to help the student in the support they need and hopefully get them back on track.